Have you ever wondered how you can not only live longer, but also enjoy those extra years in peak health? What if you could prevent the most common diseases like heart disease, cancer, and diabetes, ensuring your body stays strong and your mind sharp well into old age? In OUTLIVE, Peter Attia reveals the science and art of longevity, showing how small, strategic lifestyle changes can dramatically extend both your life and your quality of life. Ready to unlock the secrets to living a healthier, longer life? Let's dive in. Chapter 1. The Centenarian Decathlon. Imagine you're 100 years old. Picture yourself standing, walking, moving around easily, still able to play with your grandkids, maybe even your great-grandkids, without a second thought. You can climb a few stairs, carry groceries, and live independently. Now, think of what it would feel like if you were the opposite, struggling to move, frail, dependent on others for basic tasks. This, Peter Attia argues, is the stark choice we face today, and the key is to start preparing now. In the first chapter of OUTLIVE, Attia introduces a metaphor that immediately grabs your attention: the centenarian decathlon. Unlike a real decathlon, which requires intense athletic training, this one isn't about winning medals or competing with others. Instead, it's about preparing yourself for a series of challenges, basic, everyday tasks that become monumental hurdles for most people as they age. But what if you didn't have to struggle? What if by the time you reach your 80s, 90s, or even 100s, you still had the physical and mental strength to carry out your daily life with ease? Attia tells us that longevity isn't just about living longer. It's about living well. And to do that, we need to start thinking ahead. Way ahead. This chapter is essentially a wake-up call. Attia forces us to confront the realities of aging, which most people try to avoid. He argues that the reason many of us end up frail and dependent in our later years isn't due to bad luck or genetics, but because we fail to prepare for the inevitable decline in physical and mental abilities. The centenarian decathlon is Attia's way of framing this preparation. So, what does preparing for the centenarian decathlon look like? It's about investing in your health early, not waiting until you're in your 70s to start worrying about what happens next. Attia lays out the concept of training for old age, just like an athlete would train for a sporting event. It's about maintaining strength, flexibility, and endurance, and doing so consistently over the years, so that by the time you hit the later stages of life, you're still in control of your body. But what makes this approach so interesting is that it's not about extremes. Attia isn't telling us we need to become professional athletes or spend hours at the gym every day. Instead, he's encouraging us to be mindful about our physical health, to take small, consistent actions now that will pay off later. For example, lifting weights a few times a week, or even walking regularly, can be enough to maintain muscle mass and cardiovascular health. The goal is to prevent the decline before it starts, so that when you're older, the basic tasks of life, standing up, sitting down, walking, lifting, remain easy. This chapter introduces us to Attia's broader philosophy, the importance of prevention. He emphasizes that many of the problems people face as they age, frailty, loss of mobility, chronic diseases, are preventable with the right approach. It's not about reacting when things go wrong, but about acting early so that they don't go wrong in the first place. One of the most compelling parts of this chapter is how Attia makes the idea of aging seem not only manageable, but even exciting. He frames aging not as a slow decline into dependency, but as a challenge, one that we can meet with the right mindset and preparation. And while the centenarian decathlon is a metaphor, the lessons it teaches are very real. If you want to live a long, healthy, and fulfilling life, you need to start preparing now, no matter your age. Attia shares a few key stories and examples to illustrate this. He talks about patients he's worked with who, in their 50s and 60s, seemed perfectly healthy but began to lose strength and mobility because they weren't taking care of their bodies. These were people who thought they had plenty of time before they needed to worry about their health, but by the time they realized it was an issue, it was too late to reverse the damage fully. Their muscles had atrophied, their bones were weaker, and their cardiovascular health had deteriorated. These stories serve as cautionary tales, emphasizing that the earlier you start preparing for the centenarian decathlon, the better your chances are of winning it. But Adia also offers hope. He tells us that even if you've neglected your health up until now, it's never too late to start. By building strength, maintaining muscle mass, and improving your cardiovascular health, you can drastically improve your quality of life as you age. Even small changes, like incorporating resistance training or increasing your daily activity levels, can make a big difference in the long run. The idea of the centenarian decathlon forces us to think about aging differently. It's no longer something to fear or avoid, but a challenge to meet head-on. And with the right preparation, you can not only extend your life but ensure that the extra years are filled with vitality and independence. As you finish this chapter, you're left with a sense of urgency. Adia has set the stage for the rest of the book, making it clear that longevity isn't just about adding years to your life, it's about adding life to your years. The centenarian decathlon is the blueprint, and in the chapters to come, he'll break down exactly how you can train for it, both physically and mentally, to ensure that you don't just live longer, but live better. Chapter 2. The 4 Horsemen of Chronic Disease. As we journey further into OUTLIVE, Peter Adia presents a formidable challenge, confronting what he calls the 4 Horsemen of Chronic Disease. These are the primary culprits responsible for most deaths in the developed world: heart disease, cancer, neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's, and metabolic disorders such as type 2 diabetes. This chapter dives deep into these terrifying foes, but Adia doesn't simply describe them to instill fear. Instead, he arms us with knowledge and strategies for fighting them long before they manifest. Adia opens the chapter by explaining how these 4 chronic conditions, which collectively account for nearly 75% of all deaths worldwide, are not inevitable. Many of us see aging and disease as unavoidable parts of life, things that happen to us as we get older. But Adia challenges this narrative by showing that these diseases are largely preventable through early intervention and lifestyle changes. His message is clear: if we want to live longer, healthier lives, we must stop thinking of disease as something that happens to us and start thinking of it as something we can actively fight against. The chapter starts by focusing on heart disease, the leading cause of death globally. Adia explains that heart disease is often a silent killer, slowly developing over decades without noticeable symptoms. Most people only become aware of it when it's too late, after a heart attack or stroke. However, Adia emphasizes that heart disease doesn't just happen out of nowhere. It builds up over time as cholesterol accumulates in the arteries, forming plaques that restrict blood flow. He reveals that this buildup can start as early as your 20s or 30s, long before most people think to worry about heart health. But here's the key: it can be prevented. Adia walks us through the science of heart disease prevention, discussing the importance of monitoring cholesterol levels, maintaining a healthy diet, and most importantly, staying active. He points to the power of exercise, particularly aerobic exercise, in strengthening the heart and improving cardiovascular health. But he also introduces another critical idea. Heart disease prevention isn't just about exercise and diet. It's about paying attention to your overall metabolic health, something that ties directly into the next horseman. Metabolic disorders, such as type 2 diabetes, are the second major killer Adia focuses on in this chapter. He explains that these disorders are the result of insulin resistance, which occurs when the body's cells become less responsive to insulin, leading to elevated blood sugar levels. Over time, this can cause serious damage to the body's organs, increasing the risk of heart disease, stroke, kidney failure, and even certain cancers. But here's the shocking part. According to Adia, insulin resistance often starts decades before someone is diagnosed with diabetes. This silent period, where damage is accumulating without noticeable symptoms, is why metabolic health is so crucial to long-term well-being. Adia emphasizes that maintaining healthy insulin levels is not just for people who are overweight or already diabetic. It's something everyone should be mindful of. He shares practical strategies for improving metabolic health, including dietary changes, such as reducing sugar intake, regular exercise, and monitoring blood sugar levels over time. Next, Atia moves on to cancer, the third horseman, which, unlike heart disease or metabolic disorders, is often seen as something more mysterious and unpredictable. While certain risk factors for cancer are well known, like smoking or excessive sun exposure, Atia explains that many cancers develop due to factors we might not even consider, such as chronic inflammation or prolonged exposure to environmental toxins. But again, his message is one of prevention. Atia discusses how we can reduce our cancer risk by making lifestyle choices that minimize inflammation, such as eating a healthy diet, getting enough sleep, and avoiding known carcinogens. He also highlights the importance of early detection through regular screenings, noting that many cancers are far easier to treat when caught early. Here, Atia introduces a powerful concept, treating aging itself as a disease. He explains that by addressing the root causes of aging, like inflammation, oxidative stress, and cellular damage, we can slow down the processes that lead to cancer and other chronic diseases. The final horseman is neurodegenerative diseases, like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, which rob people of their cognitive abilities and independence. These diseases are particularly terrifying because they often develop slowly and, once symptoms appear, can progress rapidly. But, as with the other horsemen, Atia believes that prevention is possible. He discusses the importance of protecting brain health by keeping both the body and mind active. This means regular physical exercise, which has been shown to improve blood flow to the brain and reduce the risk of neurodegenerative diseases, as well as mental exercise, like learning new skills, solving puzzles, or engaging in challenging conversations. He also emphasizes the role of diet in brain health, particularly the importance of eating foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which have been shown to protect against cognitive decline. Throughout this chapter, Atia keeps coming back to a central theme: the power of early action. These 4 chronic diseases, heart disease, cancer, metabolic disorders, and neurodegenerative diseases, don't have to be inevitable. By taking steps now to improve our health, whether it's through diet, exercise, sleep, or stress management, we can significantly reduce our risk of developing these conditions later in life. What makes this chapter so compelling is Adia's ability to explain complex medical concepts in a way that's both engaging and actionable. He doesn't overwhelm us with statistics or jargon. Instead, he paints a vivid picture of what's happening inside our bodies as we age, and then shows us how to fight back. His tone is reassuring yet urgent, making it clear that while we have the power to prevent these diseases, the time to act is now. By the end of this chapter, you're left with a sense of control. The 4 horsemen may be responsible for most of the world's deaths, but they are not invincible. With the right knowledge and a proactive approach to health, we can significantly increase our chances of living a long, healthy life, one free from the debilitating effects of chronic disease. The journey through this chapter also serves as a setup for what's to come in the book. Having introduced the enemies we'll be fighting, Atia is now ready to dive into the specific tools and strategies we can use to win the battle for longevity. He's laid the groundwork for a new way of thinking about aging and health, one that doesn't just focus on treating disease after it strikes, but on preventing it altogether. Chapter 3: The Importance of Strength and Muscle Mass. In OUTLIVE, Peter Atia takes a bold stance that might surprise some. Muscle is a critical aspect of longevity. This chapter starts by challenging the common perception that muscle is simply about physical appearance or athletic performance. Instead, Atia presents muscle mass as one of the most important determinants of how well we age, and he does so in a way that feels empowering, especially for people who might not currently focus on strength training. Atia begins by asking us to reconsider how we view our bodies as we age. Most people focus on maintaining a healthy weight, watching their diet, and staying active in a general sense. But when it comes to aging well, these actions only get us part of the way there. According to Atia, what's often overlooked is the role of muscle mass, something he refers to as health span insurance. He argues that maintaining and even increasing muscle mass can dramatically change the trajectory of our aging process. But why is muscle so important? For starters, Muscle mass is directly linked to mobility, balance, and strength, things that are essential for maintaining independence as we get older. In this chapter, Adia introduces the concept of sarcopenia, which is the natural loss of muscle mass that occurs with aging. Sarcopenia doesn't just make us weaker, it makes us more prone to falls, fractures, and a host of other problems that can lead to a downward spiral of health decline. In fact, many people who end up in nursing homes don't get there because of specific diseases. They get there because they can no longer move around safely or take care of themselves due to muscle loss. Adia tells stories of patients who came to him after a serious fall or injury. For many of these patients, the underlying issue wasn't just poor balance or a bad accident. It was a lack of muscle strength. And the frustrating part? These declines in muscle mass are often preventable, but for most people, by the time they notice they've lost strength or mobility, it's much harder to regain that muscle. That's why, Adia insists, building and maintaining muscle mass should be a lifelong goal, starting as early as possible. He then explains how muscle does more than just support physical movement. It's also key to metabolic health. Muscle is the primary site where our bodies process glucose, which means it plays a crucial role in preventing metabolic diseases like type 2 diabetes. When you have more muscle, your body is better able to manage blood sugar levels, which helps protect against insulin resistance and the long-term consequences that come with it. Essentially, muscle acts as a protective buffer against many of the metabolic problems that typically come with aging. But Adia isn't just concerned with preventing disease. He's also focused on improving quality of life as we age. He points out that people who maintain muscle mass tend to have higher energy levels, better mobility, and a greater ability to enjoy the things they love doing, whether it's playing with grandchildren, traveling, or simply living independently. Building muscle isn't about vanity. It's about ensuring that you can move, live, and thrive well into your later years. The good news, according to Adia, is that building muscle isn't as hard as you might think. He spends time dispelling the myth that you have to spend hours at the gym lifting heavy weights to see results. In fact, he encourages readers to start small. Even simple resistance exercises, like bodyweight squats, lunges, or using resistance bands, can make a significant difference, especially if you're just starting out. And while weightlifting is ideal for building muscle, it's not the only way. Adia emphasizes the importance of consistency over intensity. Doing something every day or every week, no matter how small, is better than doing nothing at all. Adia also touches on the role of diet in muscle health. Protein intake is a key factor, and he makes the case for ensuring you're getting enough protein in your diet as you age. He explains that as we get older, our bodies require more protein to maintain and build muscle than they did when we were younger. This means that people over 40 or 50 should be more intentional about including high-quality protein in their meals, whether from animal or plant sources. One of the most exciting parts of this chapter is when Adia explains how muscle mass not only helps us prevent frailty, but also helps us bounce back from illness or injury. He shares stories of patients who had undergone surgeries or experienced significant health setbacks, but were able to recover quickly because they had built up enough muscle mass beforehand. Essentially, muscle acts as a reserve, something you can draw on when your body is under stress, whether it's from an illness, surgery, or even a period of inactivity. This concept of muscle reserve is critical because it means that even if life throws you a curveball, having a strong foundation of muscle can help you recover faster and more completely. Adia emphasizes that strength is something we can control, no matter our age. He talks about patients in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s who were able to build muscle and significantly improve their physical health through strength training. He debunks the myth that it's too late to start building muscle after a certain age. While it's true that it becomes harder to build muscle as we get older, it's far from impossible. In fact, it becomes even more important to focus on muscle health as we age. The narrative Adia weaves throughout this chapter is one of empowerment. He doesn't dwell on the limitations that come with aging, but instead highlights the opportunities we have to take control of our physical health. Muscle, he argues, is one of the most powerful tools we have to ensure that we don't just live longer, but live better. And the best part, We all have the ability to start today. By the end of the chapter, you're left with a clear sense of how important muscle is, not just for looking good or feeling strong, but for maintaining your independence and preventing the decline that so many people experience as they age. Adia's message is clear. Muscle is the foundation of longevity, and the sooner we start building it, the better our chances of aging well. Chapter 4: Nutrition and Longevity. Peter Attia takes us further into the journey of longevity by tackling one of the most debated and confusing aspects of health: nutrition. In this chapter, he doesn't prescribe a single definitive diet for everyone. Instead, he dives into the science behind various dietary approaches, helping readers understand the impact food has on aging and overall health. This chapter feels like Attia is handing us the tools to make informed decisions, without the pressure of following rigid rules. It's about finding what works best for you, with longevity as the ultimate goal. Attia opens by addressing a common frustration many people face when it comes to nutrition: conflicting information. Should you eat a low-carb diet? Or perhaps a ketogenic one? Maybe the Mediterranean diet is the answer. What about intermittent fasting? Attia sympathizes with the confusion. The truth, he explains, is that there isn't a one-size-fits-all diet, and what works for one person might not work for another. However, what is universal is the importance of metabolic health, and diet plays a crucial role in maintaining it. Metabolic health is the backbone of this chapter, and it's easy to understand why Attia places so much emphasis on it. Poor metabolic health, which often manifests as insulin resistance, is one of the key drivers of many chronic diseases, including heart disease, diabetes, and even some cancers. Attia presents metabolic health as the key to longevity, showing that the better we manage our metabolism, the more likely we are to avoid the diseases that tend to cut life short. To explain how diet affects metabolic health, Attia takes us through the science of insulin resistance. He describes how, when we eat carbohydrates, our body produces insulin to help process the sugar in our blood. However, over time, if we eat too many processed carbs or sugary foods, our body becomes less responsive to insulin, which can lead to elevated blood sugar levels and eventually type 2 diabetes. This process can go on for years without any noticeable symptoms, which is why it's so dangerous. Attia emphasizes the importance of catching insulin resistance early, through regular blood tests, and by paying attention to how our bodies respond to different foods. One of the key takeaways from this chapter is that improving metabolic health through diet doesn't require extreme measures. Attia walks us through several different dietary approaches, explaining the pros and cons of each. For instance, he discusses the ketogenic diet, which focuses on drastically reducing carbohydrate intake and increasing fat consumption. By doing this, the body shifts from burning glucose for energy to burning fat, a process known as ketosis. Attia explains that while the ketogenic diet can be highly effective for some people, especially those with insulin resistance, it's not necessary or ideal for everyone. He then moves on to intermittent fasting, another approach that has gained a lot of attention for its potential to improve metabolic health and longevity. Intermittent fasting involves cycling between periods of eating and fasting, which can help reduce insulin levels and improve how the body processes glucose. Attia is a proponent of intermittent fasting, but he's careful to note that it's not a magic bullet. It's simply one tool in a larger toolkit for improving metabolic health. What makes this chapter especially interesting is how Attia shifts the focus from restrictive dieting to understanding how different foods affect your body. He emphasizes that the goal is not necessarily to lose weight, but to improve metabolic function, which can help prevent chronic diseases in the long run. He also talks about the importance of protein, especially as we age, for maintaining muscle mass and overall health. Attia suggests that older adults actually need more protein than younger people to maintain their muscle mass, which is crucial for long-term health and independence. Attia also touches on the role of fat in the diet, breaking down the differences between healthy fats, like those found in avocados, nuts, and olive oil, and unhealthy fats, like trans fats found in processed foods. He explains how healthy fats can support brain health and reduce inflammation, which is critical for preventing diseases like Alzheimer's. In contrast, unhealthy fats contribute to chronic inflammation, which accelerates aging and the onset of chronic diseases. One of the most compelling parts of this chapter is how Adia describes the relationship between inflammation and diet. Chronic inflammation, he explains, is like a slow-burning fire in the body that contributes to many of the diseases associated with aging. And while inflammation can be triggered by many factors, including stress and lack of sleep, diet is one of the biggest contributors. Adia discusses how certain foods, especially processed foods high in sugar and unhealthy fats, can increase inflammation, while other foods like leafy greens, berries, and healthy fats can reduce it. Adia also highlights the importance of eating whole foods, foods that are minimally processed and as close to their natural state as possible. He encourages readers to focus on nutrient-dense foods that provide a variety of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, which are essential for maintaining cellular health and preventing oxidative stress, another key factor in aging. By choosing whole, unprocessed foods, we not only improve our metabolic health, but also provide our bodies with the nutrients they need to repair and protect themselves. Throughout this chapter, Adia reiterates that nutrition is not about perfection. He doesn't advocate for rigid diets or extreme restrictions. Instead, he encourages readers to experiment and find a way of eating that works for their unique body and lifestyle. The goal is to create a sustainable approach to nutrition, one that supports metabolic health, reduces inflammation, and promotes longevity. Adia also emphasizes the importance of being flexible with your diet. Life is unpredictable, and there will be times when you can't stick to your ideal eating plan. That's okay, he says, as long as you stay consistent over the long term. It's not about what you eat on any given day. It's about the overall pattern of your diet. This flexible, forgiving approach makes Adia's advice feel accessible and achievable, even for people who might struggle with dietary changes. The chapter closes with a powerful reminder that nutrition is just one part of the longevity equation. While what we eat is incredibly important, it's not the only factor that determines how well we age. Diet, exercise, sleep, stress management, and social connections all play a role, and it's the combination of these factors that will ultimately determine our health span. By the end of this chapter, you're left with a clear understanding of how diet affects aging and what you can do to improve your metabolic health through nutrition. Adia's approach is practical, science-based, and most importantly, flexible. He doesn't prescribe a one-size-fits-all solution, but instead offers a range of options that allow you to tailor your diet to your individual needs and preferences. The message is empowering. By making informed, intentional choices about what we eat, we can take control of our health and improve our chances of living a long, vibrant life. Chapter 5. The Role of Metabolic Health. In the journey through OUTLIVE, Peter Adia keeps coming back to one central theme: metabolic health. As we step into this chapter, Adia explains in even greater detail why our metabolism, the system that processes the food we eat into energy, is not just a matter of managing weight or fitness, but is the core driver of longevity and health. Without a properly functioning metabolism, we open the door to nearly every chronic disease associated with aging, including diabetes, heart disease, cancer, and even cognitive decline. Metabolism might seem like an abstract concept, but Adia breaks it down in a way that makes it both simple and deeply compelling. He explains that metabolic health is essentially the ability of our bodies to efficiently and effectively convert food into energy without causing harmful side effects like elevated blood sugar or insulin resistance. When your metabolism is functioning well, your body is able to process glucose, sugar, from the food you eat and either use it for immediate energy or store it for later use without any problems. But when things go wrong, when your body becomes resistant to insulin or can no longer efficiently manage blood sugar levels, this sets off a chain reaction that leads to inflammation, weight gain, and eventually chronic disease. Adia emphasizes that poor metabolic health doesn't just affect people who are overweight or obese. In fact, he reveals a startling statistic. Nearly 88% of American adults are metabolically unhealthy, even if they don't show obvious signs like excess weight. This means that the vast majority of people are walking around with underlying metabolic problems that could lead to serious health consequences down the road. The scary part? Many of them have no idea it's happening. This chapter feels like a wake-up call, pushing readers to take control of their metabolic health before it's too late. The core of this chapter revolves around insulin resistance, which is when your body's cells stop responding properly to insulin, the hormone responsible for regulating blood sugar. When you eat, your body releases insulin to help move glucose from your bloodstream into your cells, where it can be used for energy. But when you become insulin resistant, this process breaks down. Your body starts pumping out more and more insulin to try to get the job done, but over time, this leads to elevated blood sugar levels, inflammation, and eventually type 2 diabetes. Adia paints a vivid picture of how insulin resistance slowly develops over time, often with no obvious symptoms. This is what makes it so dangerous. It can silently wreak havoc on your body for years before you notice anything is wrong. He compares it to a ticking time bomb, one that eventually leads to metabolic syndrome, a cluster of conditions including high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and excessive fat around the waist. Metabolic syndrome is one of the key risk factors for the 4 horsemen of chronic disease that Adia discussed earlier: heart disease, cancer, neurodegenerative diseases, and diabetes. But here's the good news. Insulin resistance is preventable, and in many cases, reversible. And this is where Adia's message becomes both empowering and actionable. He provides a clear roadmap for improving metabolic health starting with diet. While he's already covered the importance of reducing sugar and processed carbohydrates in the previous chapter, here he goes deeper into how to make these changes a reality in everyday life. One of the most effective strategies Adia recommends is intermittent fasting. He explains that intermittent fasting isn't just about cutting calories or losing weight. It's about giving your body a break from constantly producing insulin. When you fast, your insulin levels drop, giving your cells a chance to become more sensitive to insulin again. This, in turn, improves your body's ability to regulate blood sugar and reduces the risk of developing insulin resistance. Adia doesn't prescribe a rigid fasting schedule. He encourages readers to experiment with different fasting windows, such as the popular 16.8 method, where you fast for 16 hours and eat within an 8-hour window. In addition to intermittent fasting, Adia stresses the importance of regular physical activity for maintaining metabolic health. He explains that exercise, particularly resistance training and aerobic exercise, improves insulin sensitivity, allowing your muscles to more effectively absorb glucose from your bloodstream. This not only helps manage blood sugar levels, but also boosts your overall energy levels and reduces the risk of developing chronic diseases. Even simple activities like walking after meals can make a significant difference in how your body processes glucose. Another key component of metabolic health that Adia highlights is sleep. Poor sleep, whether in terms of quantity or quality, can wreak havoc on your metabolism. When you're sleep deprived, your body produces more cortisol, the stress hormone, which in turn raises your blood sugar levels and makes it harder for insulin to do its job. This creates a vicious cycle where poor sleep leads to poor metabolic health, which then makes it harder to sleep well. Adia provides practical tips for improving sleep hygiene, such as sticking to a regular sleep schedule, minimizing screen time before bed, and creating a calm, dark sleeping environment. Stress management is another major factor in maintaining metabolic health. Chronic stress, like poor sleep, raises cortisol levels, which can lead to insulin resistance and weight gain, especially around the abdomen. Adia encourages readers to develop a stress management routine, whether through mindfulness practices, meditation, or even something as simple as deep breathing exercises. By managing stress effectively, you can keep cortisol levels in check and protect your metabolic health. What makes this chapter stand out is how Adia connects the dots between metabolic health and nearly every other aspect of aging and disease prevention. He explains that when your metabolism is functioning well, your body is better able to fight off infections, heal from injuries, and protect itself from chronic diseases. On the flip side, poor metabolic health weakens your immune system, accelerates aging, and increases your risk of almost every major disease. Atiya also touches on the concept of metabolic flexibility, which is the ability of your body to switch between burning carbohydrates and burning fat for energy. Most people, he explains, are metabolically inflexible. They rely almost exclusively on carbohydrates for energy because their bodies have become dependent on constant glucose intake. This leads to a roller coaster of energy levels throughout the day, with spikes after eating and crashes in between meals. By improving metabolic flexibility, through intermittent fasting, exercise, and a balanced diet, you can train your body to efficiently burn fat for energy, leading to more stable energy levels and better overall health. By the end of this chapter, Atiya leaves readers with a clear understanding of why metabolic health is so crucial to longevity and how they can take actionable steps to improve it. The message is clear. Our metabolic health is largely within our control, and by making small, consistent changes to our diet, exercise routine, sleep habits, and stress levels, we can dramatically improve our chances of living longer, healthier lives. This chapter isn't just a technical exploration of metabolism, it's a call to action. Atiya encourages readers to take their metabolic health seriously and to start making changes now, before the silent effects of insulin resistance or metabolic dysfunction become too entrenched. And for those who are already facing metabolic issues, the chapter offers hope. It's never too late to turn things around. We noticed that 72% of you who listen to our video are not yet subscribed to the channel. Please help support the channel by hitting the subscribe button and like the video. Thanks for inspiring us to create more content for you. Chapter 6: Stress, Sleep, and Mental Health. As we continue the journey through OUTLIVE, Peter Atiya opens the door to a new perspective on longevity, one that goes beyond diet and exercise. In this chapter, he explores how stress, sleep, and mental health are integral parts of the longevity equation. It's a holistic view of aging that recognizes the profound impact our emotional and psychological well-being have on our physical health. Through engaging stories and relatable examples, Atiya brings to life the idea that optimizing for longevity is not just about keeping the body in good shape, but also taking care of the mind and soul. Atiya begins the chapter by addressing stress, which is often treated as an inevitable part of modern life. Whether it's work-related pressures, financial concerns, or personal challenges, most of us experience stress on a regular basis. And while occasional stress is a normal part of life, chronic stress can wreak havoc on our bodies. Atiya explains that stress is not just an emotional response. It triggers a physical reaction that can accelerate aging and lead to serious health problems. When we experience stress, our bodies release cortisol, the fight-or-flight hormone that prepares us to respond to threats. In the short term, this is helpful. It boosts our energy levels, sharpens our focus, and helps us get through challenging situations. But when stress becomes chronic, our cortisol levels remain elevated for long periods of time, which has a damaging effect on the body. Atiya vividly describes how chronic stress leads to inflammation, weakens the immune system, and disrupts metabolic health, contributing to conditions like heart disease, diabetes, and cognitive decline. Atiya paints a clear picture of how stress can quietly undermine our efforts to live longer, healthier lives. He shares stories of patients who seem to be doing everything right, eating well, exercising regularly, but were still struggling with health issues because of the relentless stress in their lives. Stress, he explains, can negate the benefits of a healthy lifestyle if it's not managed properly. This realization reframes the way we think about longevity. It's not just about physical habits, but also about managing our emotional responses and finding balance in life. One of the most powerful aspects of this chapter is how Atiya connects stress to the aging process itself. He introduces the concept of allostatic load, which refers to the cumulative burden of chronic stress on the body. Allostatic load increases wear and tear on our organs, disrupts sleep patterns, and accelerates biological aging. Essentially, the more stressed we are, the faster we age, not just in terms of wrinkles and gray hair, but in terms of our risk for serious diseases and the overall decline in our physical and mental capabilities. Atiya doesn't leave us hanging in the face of this daunting reality. Instead, he offers practical solutions for managing stress. he talks about mindfulness practices, like meditation and deep breathing, which have been shown to reduce cortisol levels and improve overall well-being. He encourages readers to find activities that help them relax and unwind, whether that's spending time in nature, practicing yoga, or even something as simple as taking regular breaks throughout the day. The key, Adia emphasizes, is consistency. Just as we need to exercise regularly to maintain physical health, we need to consistently engage in stress-reducing practices to protect our mental and emotional health. As the chapter progresses, Adia turns his attention to sleep, which he calls the ultimate recovery tool. Sleep, he explains, is essential for every aspect of our health. It's the time when our bodies repair and regenerate, our brains process information and memories, and our immune system strengthens its defenses. Yet despite its importance, sleep is often the first thing we sacrifice when life gets busy. Adia describes sleep deprivation as a hidden epidemic, one that has serious consequences for longevity. When we don't get enough sleep, or when the quality of our sleep is poor, it affects nearly every system in our bodies. Our immune system weakens, making us more vulnerable to infections and illnesses. Our cognitive function declines, impairing our ability to think clearly, solve problems, and make decisions. And, just as importantly, our metabolic health suffers. Poor sleep has been linked to insulin resistance, weight gain, and an increased risk of diabetes. One of the most eye-opening parts of this chapter is when Adia explains how even minor sleep deprivation can have a significant impact on health. He shares research showing that just a single night of poor sleep can elevate blood sugar levels, increase cortisol, and disrupt the body's natural repair processes. Over time, these small disruptions add up, contributing to the onset of chronic diseases and accelerating the aging process. But there's hope. Adia emphasizes that improving sleep doesn't require drastic changes. Small adjustments can make a big difference. He offers practical tips for improving sleep hygiene, such as sticking to a consistent sleep schedule, creating a calming bedtime routine, and minimizing exposure to screens before bed, since blue light from devices can interfere with melatonin production, the hormone that helps regulate sleep. He also suggests creating a comfortable sleep environment by keeping the bedroom dark, cool, and quiet, and investing in a quality mattress and pillows. For those struggling with insomnia or other sleep disorders, Adia recommends exploring treatments such as cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, CBTI, which has been shown to be highly effective in improving sleep quality without the need for medication. His message is clear. Prioritizing sleep is one of the most powerful ways we can improve our health and longevity, and it's something we can start working on immediately. The chapter then shifts to the topic of mental health, which Adia treats with the same level of importance as physical health. He makes a compelling case for the connection between mental well-being and longevity, explaining that poor mental health can undermine even the best physical health habits. Depression, anxiety, and chronic stress not only take a toll on emotional well-being, but also contribute to physical health problems, including inflammation, heart disease, and cognitive decline. Adia shares his own experiences with mental health struggles, offering a vulnerable and relatable perspective. He explains that mental health is not something we can afford to ignore. It's an integral part of the longevity equation. Taking care of your mind is just as important as taking care of your body. Whether it's through therapy, mindfulness practices, or simply reaching out to friends and family for support, maintaining good mental health is essential for a long and fulfilling life. What's particularly striking about this chapter is how Adia normalizes the idea that everyone at some point will struggle with their mental health. It's not a sign of weakness, he emphasizes, but a part of being human. And just like we would seek treatment for a physical illness, we should seek help when our mental health is suffering. Adia encourages readers to view mental health care as preventive medicine, just as important as regular exercise or eating a healthy diet. By the end of the chapter, Adia has woven together the themes of stress, sleep, and mental health into a cohesive narrative about holistic health. He makes it clear that if we want to live longer, healthier lives, we can't just focus on our physical bodies. We have to nurture our minds and emotional well-being as well. Stress management, quality sleep, and good mental health are not just luxuries. They are essential components of a longevity plan. In many ways, this chapter feels like a turning point in the book. Adia moves beyond the physical aspects of health and opens our eyes to the emotional and psychological dimensions of aging. It's a reminder that living well is about more than just avoiding disease. It's about finding balance, peace, and joy in our lives. And that, perhaps, is the ultimate key to longevity. Chapter 7: The Science of Longevity Medicine. As we move deeper into OUTLIVE, Peter Attia takes us into the frontier of cutting-edge science, where the boundaries of medicine and longevity intersect. This chapter is where Attia dives into the emerging field of longevity medicine, focusing on the scientific advancements that are being explored to not just add years to our lives, but to improve the quality of those years. The excitement is palpable as Attia brings the reader closer to the possibility of outliving the diseases and limitations that have historically plagued human aging. Attia begins by acknowledging that the dream of living longer, healthier lives has been around for centuries. From ancient elixirs to the modern anti-aging industry, people have always searched for ways to extend their lifespan. But what's different now, he explains, is that for the first time in history, we have the scientific tools to make that dream a reality. The goal of longevity medicine isn't just to delay death, but to extend health span, the period of life in which we are free from disease, disability, and physical decline. The chapter opens with a discussion on the role of preventive medicine in longevity. Traditionally, medicine has been reactive, treating diseases after they've already taken hold. But Attia advocates for a new approach: proactive preventive medicine that focuses on identifying and addressing potential health risks before they become serious problems. This isn't just about screening for cancer or heart disease. It's about understanding the underlying biological mechanisms of aging and intervening to slow or reverse them. Attia introduces the concept of biological age versus chronological age. Your chronological age is simply the number of years you've lived, but your biological age reflects the true state of your body's health. Someone could be 60 years old chronologically, but have the biological health of a 40-year-old if they've taken care of their body well. Conversely, someone could be in their 40s, but biologically much older if they've lived with poor habits or have underlying health conditions. Longevity medicine, as Attia envisions it, is about reducing your biological age, keeping your body younger and healthier for longer, even as your chronological age increases. This is where Attia begins to introduce some of the exciting new interventions being explored in the field of longevity science. One of the most promising areas of research is the use of certain medications that have been shown to extend lifespan in animals and could potentially do the same for humans. One such medication is metformin, a drug commonly used to treat type 2 diabetes. Studies have shown that metformin has a number of beneficial effects beyond blood sugar control, including reducing inflammation, protecting against cardiovascular disease, and potentially even reducing the risk of cancer. Attia discusses the possibility of using metformin as a preventive medication in non-diabetic people to help slow the aging process and extend health span. Another fascinating area of research that Attia covers is rapamycin, a drug originally used to prevent organ transplant rejection. In recent years, rapamycin has gained attention for its ability to extend lifespan in animals by inhibiting a cellular pathway known as mTOR, mammalian target of rapamycin. The mTOR pathway is involved in regulating cell growth and metabolism, and by inhibiting this pathway, rapamycin has been shown to mimic some of the effects of calorie restriction, which has long been known to extend lifespan in various species. Attia explains that while the use of rapamycin in humans is still experimental, the early results are promising, and many researchers believe that it could be a powerful tool in the fight against aging. Attia also delves into senolytics, a class of drugs designed to target and eliminate senescent cells, cells that have stopped dividing and no longer function properly, but refuse to die off. These zombie cells accumulate in the body as we age, causing inflammation and contributing to age-related diseases. Senolytics are being explored as a way to clear out these harmful cells, potentially delaying the onset of diseases like cancer, Alzheimer's, and cardiovascular disease. This area of research is still in its early stages, but Adia is optimistic about its potential. The discussion on longevity medicine wouldn't be complete without addressing the role of gene therapy. Adia explains that as we learn more about the genetic factors that influence aging, we may be able to use gene therapy to modify those factors and slow the aging process. This could involve turning off genes that contribute to aging or enhancing the activity of genes that promote longevity. While gene therapy is still largely in the realm of experimental research, Adia sees it as one of the most exciting possibilities on the horizon of longevity science. Throughout the chapter, Adia emphasizes that these interventions, while promising, are not yet mainstream or widely available. Many of them are still being tested in clinical trials, and their long-term effects are not fully understood. However, he is clear that the future of longevity medicine will likely involve a combination of these therapies, personalized to each individual, based on their unique genetic makeup, health risks, and lifestyle. One of the most compelling parts of this chapter is when Atia discusses the potential for personalized medicine in the context of longevity. He explains that as our understanding of genetics and biomarkers improves, we will be able to create highly individualized health plans tailored to each person's specific needs. For example, instead of relying on population-wide guidelines for things like cholesterol levels or blood pressure, doctors could use genetic information to predict how a person's body will respond to certain interventions, allowing for more precise and effective treatments. Adia envisions a future where people undergo regular, comprehensive health assessments that go far beyond the basic checkups we have today. These assessments would look at a wide range of biomarkers, including things like inflammation levels, cellular health, and even the length of telomeres, the protective caps on the ends of chromosomes that shorten as we age. With this detailed information, doctors could create personalized longevity plans that include lifestyle changes, medications, and possibly even gene therapies designed to slow aging and prevent disease. But as exciting as these advancements are, Adia is careful to temper expectations. He acknowledges that while we're closer than ever to understanding the science of longevity, there is still much we don't know. Many of the drugs and therapies he discusses are still experimental, and it could be years or even decades before they become widely available or affordable. Adia encourages readers to focus on the things they can control right now, like diet, exercise, sleep, and stress management, while keeping an eye on the emerging science of longevity medicine. One of the key takeaways from this chapter is the idea that the future of medicine won't just be about treating diseases as they arise, but about preventing them long before they have a chance to develop. Adia's vision is one where people live well into their 80s, 90s, and even 100s, not just surviving but thriving, free from the debilitating diseases that have traditionally accompanied old age. As the chapter draws to a close, Atia reflects on the incredible potential of longevity medicine and what it could mean for future generations. While we're still at the early stages of this revolution, the possibility of radically extending human health span is within our reach. And while the road ahead may be long, the advances being made today offer hope that one day we may truly be able to outlive the diseases that have plagued humanity for centuries. Chapter 8. The emotional and social side of aging. As we journey further into OUTLIVE, Peter Adia shifts gears from the scientific and physical aspects of longevity to something more emotional and social, an often overlooked aspect of aging. This chapter is a reminder that while diet, exercise, and cutting-edge medicine are crucial for living a longer, healthier life, the emotional and social connections we cultivate are just as important. Adia paints a vivid picture of aging that's not just about physical survival, but about living a rich, fulfilling life surrounded by strong relationships and a sense of purpose. Atia begins by addressing the stark reality that many people, as they age, begin to feel disconnected from their communities, their families, and even themselves. This disconnection, he argues, can accelerate the aging process just as much as poor health habits can. He introduces the idea that social isolation and loneliness are not just emotionally painful, they are physically damaging. Numerous studies have shown that loneliness is as harmful to health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day, significantly increasing the risk of heart disease, stroke, depression, and even early death. For Adia, this data underscores the idea that the quality of our relationships directly impacts the quality and length of our lives. But loneliness isn't just about physical isolation. It's about the lack of meaningful connections. You can be surrounded by people and still feel profoundly lonely if those relationships aren't fulfilling. Adia draws from his own experiences and stories from his patients to illustrate how some people find themselves isolated, not because they lack opportunities for connection, but because they haven't prioritized or nurtured the relationships that truly matter. This isn't just an issue for the elderly. It's a problem that can begin much earlier in life, especially as people become more focused on their careers or other personal pursuits at the expense of their social lives. The chapter turns to a discussion of why relationships and community are so essential for longevity. Adia explains that humans are social creatures by nature, and our health is deeply intertwined with the people around us. When we feel connected to others, it lowers our stress levels, reduces inflammation, and even boosts our immune system. On the other hand, when we feel lonely or disconnected, it triggers a stress response that raises cortisol levels and promotes inflammation, contributing to a range of chronic health conditions. Adia emphasizes that maintaining strong social connections can be just as important as exercising or eating well when it comes to aging well. He encourages readers to take a proactive approach to their social health, just as they would with their physical health. This means making an effort to nurture relationships, reach out to friends and family, and even seek new connections as we age. It's not always easy, especially for people who are naturally introverted or who have experienced loss, but Adia insists that the effort is worth it. One of the most poignant moments in this chapter is when Adia talks about the emotional challenges of aging, particularly the experience of loss. As we age, it's inevitable that we will lose people we care about: spouses, friends, family members. This kind of loss can take a deep emotional toll, and without proper emotional support, it can lead to a downward spiral of depression, loneliness, and physical decline. Adia acknowledges that there's no easy solution to dealing with grief, but he stresses the importance of having a strong support system in place to help us through those difficult times. This chapter also touches on the concept of purpose and meaning, which Adia sees as critical components of a fulfilling life, especially as we get older. He argues that having a sense of purpose is what keeps us going, even when the body begins to age or when we face challenges. Whether it's a career, a hobby, a passion project, or simply being there for loved ones, having something that gives life meaning is essential for mental and emotional well-being. Adia reflects on how people who lack a sense of purpose often experience a decline in their overall health. He shares the stories of patients who, after retiring, found themselves feeling aimless and without direction. Without a job to go to or responsibilities to take care of, they began to feel irrelevant, and this feeling of irrelevance translated into physical and mental deterioration. Conversely, he shares stories of people who, despite facing significant health challenges, continued to thrive because they had a strong sense of purpose, whether through volunteering, mentoring, or simply staying engaged with their families and communities. One of the key takeaways from this chapter is the importance of staying engaged as we age. Adia encourages readers to actively seek out ways to contribute to their communities, even if it's in small ways. He points out that volunteering, joining social groups, or simply staying involved in activities you love can provide not only a sense of purpose, but also opportunities to build meaningful connections with others. The chapter also dives into the concept of intergenerational relationships. Adia emphasizes how important it is to cultivate relationships with people of different ages. He shares stories of elderly patients who found renewed energy and joy by spending time with younger generations, whether it was through mentoring, participating in community activities, or simply being involved in their grandchildren's lives. These intergenerational connections, Adia argues, provide a sense of continuity and belonging that can be incredibly powerful for both the young and the old. In fact, studies have shown that people who maintain strong relationships with younger generations tend to live longer, healthier lives. It's not just about passing on wisdom or staying active, These relationships offer emotional support and help fight the feelings of isolation and irrelevance that often come with aging. Attia encourages readers to seek out opportunities for these types of relationships, whether through family, volunteering, or community involvement. Attia also explores the role of emotional resilience in aging well. He acknowledges that aging inevitably comes with challenges, physical decline, loss, and changes in life circumstances. But he argues that emotional resilience is what allows people to weather these challenges without becoming overwhelmed. Emotional resilience, he explains, is the ability to adapt to life's changes and maintain a positive outlook, even in the face of adversity. He shares insights on how to build emotional resilience through practices like mindfulness, gratitude, and maintaining strong social connections. As the chapter comes to a close, Attia leaves readers with a powerful message. While the physical aspects of aging are important, the emotional and social aspects are equally vital to living a long, fulfilling life. Maintaining strong relationships, staying connected to a sense of purpose, and cultivating emotional resilience can dramatically improve both the length and quality of life. By the end of this chapter, Attia has made it clear that longevity isn't just about science or medicine. It's about the way we live our lives. It's about the relationships we build, the communities we contribute to, and the emotional strength we carry with us as we age. In a world that often focuses on the physical aspects of aging, this chapter serves as a reminder that our emotional and social well-being is just as critical to our overall health and happiness. Chapter 9. Cognitive Health and Neuroprotection. In OUTLIVE, Peter Attia now turns his attention to one of the most feared aspects of aging: cognitive decline. As we age, the prospect of losing our mental sharpness, our memories, our ability to think clearly, and even our sense of self can be deeply unsettling. In this chapter, Attia explores how we can protect our brains and maintain cognitive health well into old age, with the ultimate goal of outliving neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Attia starts by painting a picture of the stakes. Cognitive decline doesn't just rob us of our mental faculties, it takes away our independence and quality of life. Diseases like Alzheimer's can slowly strip away memories, personality, and the ability to perform even basic tasks, leaving both patients and their families grappling with profound emotional and practical challenges. And while we often think of cognitive decline as an inevitable part of aging, Attia challenges this notion. He presents compelling evidence that, much like physical health, cognitive health can be protected and even enhanced with the right strategies. The chapter begins with an introduction to how the brain ages. Attia explains that, like all other organs in the body, the brain is subject to wear and tear over time. However, the processes that contribute to cognitive decline, such as the buildup of amyloid plaques and tau tangles in the brain, are not entirely outside our control. Attia emphasizes that many of the factors that contribute to neurodegenerative diseases can be influenced by lifestyle choices, much like heart disease or diabetes. Attia's approach to cognitive health is rooted in the idea of neuroprotection, or the concept of taking proactive steps to protect the brain from damage. One of the key strategies he discusses is keeping the brain active and engaged. Attia points out that the brain is like a muscle. Just as physical exercise keeps muscles strong, mental exercise keeps the brain sharp. He explains how learning new skills, solving puzzles, or engaging in intellectually stimulating activities can help build what scientists call cognitive reserve. This reserve acts as a buffer against the natural decline that comes with aging, allowing the brain to maintain function even as some areas begin to weaken. In this sense, Attia argues that lifelong learning is one of the most powerful tools we have for protecting our brains. He encourages readers to challenge themselves mentally, whether that means learning a new language, taking up a new hobby, or simply staying curious and engaged with the world around them. The more we challenge our brains, the more resilient they become. Next, Attia dives into the role of diet in cognitive health. He explains how certain foods and nutrients can help protect the brain from damage, while others can contribute to inflammation and cognitive decline. One of the most important nutrients for brain health, he says, is omega-3 fatty acids, particularly those found in fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines. Omega-3s are critical for maintaining the structure of brain cells and reducing inflammation, which is a major contributor to neurodegenerative diseases. Adia also discusses the Mediterranean diet, which has been shown in numerous studies to reduce the risk of Alzheimer's disease and other forms of dementia. The diet emphasizes whole foods, particularly fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, whole grains, and healthy fats like olive oil and fish. Adia highlights the anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties of this diet, which can help protect the brain from oxidative stress, a process that damages cells and contributes to aging. But it's not just about what we eat. It's also about what we avoid. Adia warns against the dangers of diets high in sugar and processed foods, which can lead to insulin resistance and inflammation, both of which are harmful to the brain. He explains that high blood sugar levels, in particular, have been linked to an increased risk of Alzheimer's disease, sometimes referred to as type 3 diabetes. Managing blood sugar through a balanced diet, regular exercise, and potentially intermittent fasting can therefore be critical for protecting cognitive health. Adia also emphasizes the role of exercise in maintaining cognitive function. He explains that physical activity not only strengthens the body, but also enhances brain function by improving blood flow and stimulating the production of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, a protein that supports the growth and survival of neurons. Regular aerobic exercise, such as walking, running, or swimming, has been shown to improve memory, attention, and problem-solving skills. Adia stresses that staying physically active is one of the most effective ways to protect the brain and delay the onset of cognitive decline. Sleep, too, is a vital component of brain health. Adia delves into the critical role that sleep plays in cognitive function, particularly in consolidating memories and clearing out waste products from the brain. During deep sleep, the brain undergoes a kind of cleaning process where toxic proteins like beta amyloid are removed. When we don't get enough sleep, or when our sleep is of poor quality, this cleaning process is disrupted, which can accelerate the accumulation of amyloid plaques and increase the risk of Alzheimer's disease. Adia reiterates the importance of prioritizing sleep, offering practical tips for improving sleep quality, such as maintaining a consistent sleep schedule, avoiding screens before bed, and creating a restful sleep environment. As Adia continues, he explores supplements and medications that show promise in protecting brain health. He discusses the potential benefits of nootropics, substances that are believed to enhance cognitive function. While some nootropics like caffeine and omega-3 supplements are well studied and widely used, Adia cautions against over-relying on less proven compounds without solid scientific backing. He encourages a balanced approach, using supplements that have a strong evidence base, while focusing on diet and lifestyle as the foundation of brain health. One of the more exciting areas of research that Adia explores is the use of ketones for brain health. The brain typically uses glucose for energy, but under certain conditions, such as during periods of fasting or on a ketogenic diet, it can use ketones instead. Ketones are produced when the body breaks down fat for energy, and there's growing evidence that they may be particularly beneficial for brain health. Adia discusses how ketones might protect neurons, reduce inflammation, and improve cognitive function, particularly in people at risk for Alzheimer's disease. While this area of research is still in its early stages, Adia sees it as a promising avenue for future exploration. Adia also covers hormonal health and its impact on cognitive function. As we age, hormone levels, especially testosterone in men and estrogen in women, naturally decline. Adia explains that these hormones play important roles in maintaining brain health, and he discusses the potential benefits of hormone replacement therapy, HRT, for both men and women in protecting cognitive function. While HRT is not suitable for everyone and must be carefully managed under medical supervision, Adia believes that it can be a valuable tool in preventing cognitive decline for some people. The chapter closes with a reflection on the importance of emotional and psychological health in maintaining cognitive function. Adia explains that stress, anxiety, and depression can have a profound impact on brain health, accelerating cognitive decline and increasing the risk of neurodegenerative diseases. He encourages readers to take care of their mental health just as they would their physical health, seeking therapy, practicing mindfulness, or engaging in activities that bring joy and relaxation. By the end of this chapter, Adia has laid out a comprehensive roadmap for protecting cognitive health and outliving neurodegenerative diseases. His message is one of empowerment. While cognitive decline is a reality of aging for many, it's not inevitable. Through proactive steps like staying mentally and physically active, eating a brain-healthy diet, prioritizing sleep, and managing stress, we can significantly improve our chances of maintaining mental sharpness and independence well into old age. Atia's approach to cognitive health is holistic, recognizing that the brain is deeply interconnected with the rest of the body. By taking care of our physical, emotional, and mental well-being, we can not only extend our lifespan, but ensure that those extra years are filled with clarity, purpose, and joy. Chapter 10. Exercise as the Ultimate Longevity Tool. As Peter Adia leads us deeper into the science of longevity in OUTLIVE, he now turns to what he believes is one of the most powerful and universally accessible tools for extending life and enhancing health. Exercise. In this chapter, Atia explains how physical activity is not only essential for preventing disease, but also for improving quality of life and ensuring that we remain functional and independent as we age. Exercise, according to Atia, is not just a tool for staying fit, it is the cornerstone of longevity. Adia begins by challenging the traditional view of exercise as merely a way to control weight or improve physical appearance. Instead, he frames exercise as the most potent intervention for improving health span, the number of healthy, disease-free years we live. Exercise, he argues, is one of the few things we can do that impacts almost every system in the body, from the heart and muscles to the brain and even our emotional well-being. It's the closest thing we have to a miracle drug, with benefits that far exceed any medication or medical intervention. But the magic of exercise lies not just in the obvious physical benefits, it extends much further. Adia explains that regular physical activity reduces the risk of nearly every major chronic disease, including heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and even neurodegenerative conditions like Alzheimer's. It also improves mental health, enhances cognitive function, and boosts immune function. Exercise is, in many ways, the ultimate form of preventive medicine. Atia emphasizes that while any form of movement is beneficial, not all exercise is created equal when it comes to longevity. He introduces the idea that we should think of exercise in terms of its impact on 4 key pillars of physical fitness: strength, cardiovascular endurance, flexibility, and balance. These 4 pillars, Adia argues, are the foundation of long-term health, and they become even more important as we age. First, Adia addresses strength training. He makes a compelling case for the importance of maintaining muscle mass as we grow older, reinforcing many of the ideas he introduced earlier in the book. Muscle mass is critical for maintaining physical function, preventing frailty, and reducing the risk of falls and injuries as we age. But what makes this part of the chapter especially engaging is Adia's explanation of the metabolic benefits of strength training. He explains that muscle is one of the primary sites where the body processes glucose, and having more muscle helps protect against insulin resistance and metabolic diseases like type 2 diabetes. Strength training, then, is not just about building a strong body. It's about protecting your metabolic health and keeping your body functioning optimally as you age. Adia encourages readers to incorporate strength training into their exercise routines, even if they've never lifted weights before. He breaks down the basics of strength training, explaining that it doesn't require heavy barbells or complicated equipment. Simple exercises like squats, lunges, and push-ups can go a long way in building and maintaining muscle. The key, he emphasizes, is consistency and progression. As long as you're challenging your muscles regularly, you're reaping the benefits. Next, Adia delves into cardiovascular exercise and its critical role in supporting heart health and longevity. He explains that aerobic exercise, activities that get your heart rate up for sustained periods like running, cycling, swimming, or even brisk walking, is one of the best ways to improve cardiovascular endurance. Cardiovascular exercise strengthens the heart and lungs, improves circulation, and helps lower blood pressure and cholesterol levels. Adia shares research showing that people who engage in regular aerobic exercise have a significantly lower risk of heart disease, stroke, and other cardiovascular problems. But Adia also brings in the concept of Zone 2 training, a method of exercising at a low to moderate intensity where your body primarily uses fat for fuel. Zone 2 training improves your metabolic flexibility, the ability to switch between burning carbs and fats for energy, which is crucial for both longevity and metabolic health. He encourages readers to engage in Zone 2 exercise regularly, as it enhances endurance without putting undue strain on the body. For most people, this means exercising at a pace where you can still hold a conversation, but are exerting enough effort to feel the workout. It's an approachable and sustainable form of exercise that offers enormous benefits over time. Flexibility is another key pillar of fitness that often gets overlooked, but Adia explains why it's so important for aging well. Maintaining flexibility helps prevent injuries, improves posture, and enhances overall mobility, making it easier to move through daily life without pain or stiffness. He suggests incorporating stretching and mobility exercises into a regular fitness routine to ensure that our muscles and joints stay limber. Flexibility is especially important as we get older, as it can help prevent falls and keep us independent for longer. The fourth pillar, balance, is one that many people don't think about until it becomes a problem. But Atia argues that balance is critical for preventing falls and injuries, especially as we age. Falls are one of the leading causes of injury and death in older adults, and poor balance is a major contributing factor. Adia explains that balance training, through activities like yoga, tai chi, or even simple exercises like standing on one leg, can help strengthen the muscles and neurological pathways that keep us steady on our feet. Atia doesn't just focus on the mechanics of exercise, though. He also addresses the psychological benefits of regular physical activity. Exercise, he explains, is one of the most effective ways to reduce stress, improve mood, and boost mental health. Physical activity stimulates the production of endorphins, the brain's feel-good chemicals, which can help combat anxiety and depression. Exercise also improves sleep quality, which, as Adia has emphasized throughout the book, is critical for overall health and longevity. Throughout the chapter, Adia weaves in stories of patients who transformed their health and well-being through exercise. These stories serve as powerful reminders that it's never too late to start incorporating movement into your life, no matter your age or current fitness level. He shares examples of older adults who began exercising in their 60s or 70s and experienced dramatic improvements in their strength, mobility, and overall health. For these individuals, exercise was the key to regaining their independence and extending their health span. One of the most encouraging aspects of this chapter is Atia's message that small changes can make a big difference. You don't need to become a marathon runner or a bodybuilder to reap the benefits of exercise. Even modest increases in physical activity, like taking a daily walk or doing a few minutes of stretching each day, can have a profound impact on your health over time. Adia emphasizes that the goal is not perfection, but consistency. By making exercise a regular part of your life, you can drastically improve your chances of living a longer, healthier life. Atia also touches on the importance of rest and recovery. While regular exercise is essential, he reminds readers that the body needs time to recover between workouts, especially as we get older. Overtraining can lead to injuries, fatigue, and burnout, so it's important to listen to your body and allow time for rest. Adia suggests incorporating rest days into your exercise routine and paying attention to how your body feels after workouts. By the end of this chapter, Adia has made a compelling case for why exercise should be viewed as the ultimate longevity tool. It's not just about looking good or staying in shape. It's about protecting your body from disease, improving mental health, and ensuring that you remain strong, capable, and independent as you age. Whether you're just starting out or are already active, Adia provides a roadmap for making exercise a sustainable and enjoyable part of your life. Adia's message is clear. If there's one thing you can do today to improve your health, and increase your chances of living a longer, healthier life? It's to move your body. Exercise is the single most powerful intervention we have for aging well, and it's available to all of us, regardless of where we're starting from. Chapter 11. The Art of Slowing Down Aging. In OUTLIVE, Peter Attia has spent much of the book focusing on practical strategies, exercise, diet, stress management, that help extend our health span and improve our quality of life. But now in this chapter, he turns to the bigger picture. What can we do to actually slow down the biological processes of aging itself? This chapter delves into the cutting-edge science of aging, exploring the strategies and interventions that have been shown to slow down the aging process at a cellular level, potentially extending both lifespan and health span. Attia begins by explaining that aging is not a simple, singular process. It is a complex and multifaceted phenomenon that occurs at different rates in different tissues and organs. This is why someone might look physically healthy but be biologically older when you look at their internal organs or cellular function. Attia refers back to the concept of biological age versus chronological age, which he discussed earlier in the book. While our chronological age is simply the number of years we've been alive, our biological age reflects the true condition of our body's tissues, cells, and systems. The goal of slowing aging is to reduce our biological age, keeping our cells younger and healthier for longer, even as we grow older chronologically. One of the most fascinating aspects of this chapter is Attia's discussion of cellular aging and how we can influence it. He explains that the cells in our body are constantly dividing and replicating, and each time a cell divides, the ends of our chromosomes, called telomeres, shorten. Telomeres are like protective caps that keep our genetic material intact during cell division, but over time they get shorter and shorter. Eventually, when telomeres become too short, cells can no longer divide properly, leading to cellular aging and dysfunction. This process is one of the fundamental mechanisms of aging, and it's something scientists are actively studying to see how we can slow it down. Attia explores several strategies that have shown promise in slowing the shortening of telomeres and promoting healthier cell function. One of the most well-known methods is caloric restriction, which has been shown in numerous studies to extend lifespan in a variety of species, from yeast to mice to primates. Caloric restriction involves reducing overall caloric intake while still ensuring that the body gets all the necessary nutrients. The theory behind caloric restriction is that by eating less, the body goes into a kind of protective mode, slowing down the aging process and reducing the risk of age-related diseases. While the idea of eating less to live longer might sound appealing to some, Attia acknowledges that long-term caloric restriction can be difficult to maintain and may not be practical or desirable for everyone. Instead, he suggests an alternative, intermittent fasting, which provides many of the same benefits without the need for constant caloric restriction. Intermittent fasting involves alternating periods of eating with periods of fasting, which allows the body to enter a state of repair and rejuvenation. During fasting, the body increases autophagy, a process in which cells clean out damaged components and recycle them, promoting cellular health and longevity. Attia discusses how intermittent fasting has gained a lot of attention in recent years, not just for its potential to help with weight loss, but for its ability to slow aging at a cellular level. He explains that fasting triggers a range of biological processes that enhance cell repair, reduce inflammation, and improve metabolic health. It's a simple, yet powerful tool that can help protect against the chronic diseases of aging and improve overall vitality. Attia is careful to note that intermittent fasting is not a magic bullet, but it can be an effective strategy when combined with other healthy lifestyle choices. Beyond fasting and caloric restriction, Attia dives into the growing field of hormetic stress, the idea that certain types of controlled stress can actually improve health and longevity by triggering the body's adaptive response systems. He explains that the body thrives on a certain amount of stress, as long as it's not chronic or overwhelming. This type of stress, known as hormesis, can come from various sources, including exercise, cold exposure, heat exposure, and even certain plant compounds that mildly stress the body's cells. One example of hormetic stress that Adia discusses is cold exposure, such as ice baths or cold showers. When exposed to cold temperatures, the body activates certain pathways that enhance resilience and improve cellular repair. Cold exposure has been shown to increase the production of brown fat, a type of fat that helps regulate body temperature and improve metabolic health. It also stimulates the release of norepinephrine, a hormone that boosts mood, focus, and energy levels. While cold exposure may sound uncomfortable, Adia explains that it can have profound effects on longevity and overall health. Similarly, Adia highlights the benefits of heat exposure, particularly through practices like sauna use. Regular sauna sessions have been shown to reduce the risk of heart disease, improve circulation, and promote detoxification by encouraging the body to sweat out toxins. Heat exposure also stimulates the production of heat shock proteins, which play a crucial role in protecting cells from stress and repairing damaged proteins. Adia shares research showing that people who regularly use saunas have a lower risk of dying from all causes, particularly from cardiovascular disease. Adia doesn't suggest that everyone needs to start taking ice baths or sitting in a sauna every day, but he does emphasize that incorporating some form of hormetic stress into your routine can be a powerful way to slow down the aging process. Whether it's through cold exposure, heat therapy, or exercise, these small controlled stressors help the body become more resilient and better equipped to handle the challenges of aging. Another exciting area of research that Adia explores is the potential of certain supplements and compounds that may slow down aging at a cellular level. One of the most promising compounds he discusses is nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, NAD+, a molecule that plays a key role in energy production and DNA repair. NAD+ levels naturally decline as we age, which is thought to contribute to many of the problems associated with aging, such as reduced energy levels, slower metabolism, and an increased risk of disease. By boosting NAD+ levels through supplementation, researchers believe we may be able to improve cellular function and slow the aging process. Adia explains that while the research on NAD+ supplementation is still in its early stages, the results so far are promising. Some studies have shown that boosting NAD+ levels can improve mitochondrial function, the powerhouse of the cell, reduce inflammation, and even extend lifespan in animal models. Adia is cautious about recommending specific supplements, but he does see potential in this area and encourages readers to keep an eye on future developments. Adia also touches on resveratrol, a compound found in red wine that has been shown to activate certain longevity pathways in the body. Resveratrol has gained a lot of attention for its potential anti-aging benefits, though Adia points out that the doses required to see significant effects are much higher than what you would get from a glass of wine. He encourages readers to be cautious about over-relying on any one supplement, but to consider how these compounds might fit into a broader longevity strategy. As the chapter continues, Adia turns his attention to another powerful tool for slowing aging: sleep. While he has already touched on sleep in previous chapters, here he emphasizes that sleep is one of the most important ways we can slow the aging process and promote long-term health. Sleep is when the body repairs itself, processes information, and clears out waste products from the brain. Without adequate sleep, these processes are disrupted, leading to faster aging and an increased risk of chronic disease. Adia provides practical tips for improving sleep quality, such as sticking to a regular sleep schedule, creating a calming bedtime routine, and minimizing exposure to blue light before bed. The chapter closes with a reflection on the art of slowing aging. Adia acknowledges that while we can't stop aging entirely, we have more control over the process than we might think. By focusing on cellular health, managing stress, and adopting practices that promote resilience, we can slow down the biological processes that drive aging and extend our health span. The key, he emphasizes, is to take a proactive approach, starting as early as possible and making longevity a long-term priority. By the end of this chapter, Adia has laid out a compelling case for why slowing aging is not just a dream, but a realistic goal. He has shown us that by taking care of our cells, managing our energy levels, and harnessing the body's natural repair mechanisms, we can live longer, healthier, and more vibrant lives. The art of slowing aging, according to Adia, is about making small, consistent changes that compound over time, ultimately allowing us to outlive the diseases and limitations that have historically defined old age. Chapter 12. Creating a Longevity Plan. As we approach the conclusion of OUTLIVE, Peter Attia brings all the previous chapters together to show how to create a personalized longevity plan. This final chapter is a culmination of the scientific insights, practical advice, and lifestyle interventions that Attia has discussed throughout the book, but now with a clear roadmap for how to apply these strategies to your own life. Attia's message is simple but powerful. Longevity isn't just about living longer, it's about thriving in the years we have, living them to the fullest, and maintaining independence, vitality, and purpose. Attia begins by emphasizing that there is no one-size-fits-all approach to longevity. Everyone's body, lifestyle, and genetic makeup are different, so it's essential to tailor a longevity plan that works for you. This personalized approach is based on understanding your own health risks, assessing your current habits, and making sustainable changes that can be maintained over the long term. The first step in creating a longevity plan, according to Attia, is self-assessment. This involves taking a close look at your current health and lifestyle. He encourages readers to assess their fitness levels, sleep habits, stress management practices, and dietary choices. He also recommends getting a comprehensive medical evaluation, including blood work and other diagnostic tests, to identify any potential health risks that may not be immediately apparent. This could include checking for things like insulin resistance, cholesterol levels, inflammation markers, and even getting a coronary calcium scan to assess heart disease risk. One of the most compelling parts of this chapter is how Attia encourages readers to view this self-assessment as an ongoing process, not a one-time event. As we age, our bodies change, and our needs evolve. What works in our 30s may not work in our 50s, and the interventions that are effective in preventing disease may need to shift as we move through different stages of life. Attia stresses the importance of staying proactive about our health, continually reassessing and adjusting our longevity plan as necessary. Attia then turns to the 4 pillars of longevity that he believes should form the foundation of every personalized longevity plan: exercise, nutrition, sleep, and emotional well-being. These 4 pillars have been touched on throughout the book, but in this final chapter, he offers practical advice on how to weave them together into a cohesive strategy for long-term health. The first pillar, exercise, is perhaps the most powerful tool in any longevity plan. Attia reaffirms the critical importance of maintaining strength, cardiovascular endurance, flexibility, and balance as we age. He encourages readers to build an exercise routine that includes strength training, aerobic exercise, and activities that promote flexibility and balance, such as yoga or stretching. The goal, he emphasizes, is not just to maintain physical health, but to protect against the muscle loss and physical decline that often come with aging. Exercise, according to Attia, is the closest thing we have to a magic pill for longevity, and it should be a cornerstone of any health plan. Nutrition is the second pillar, and Attia takes a flexible, individualized approach here. Rather than advocating for one specific diet, he encourages readers to experiment with different dietary strategies, keeping in mind the importance of metabolic health, insulin sensitivity, and reducing inflammation. Whether it's intermittent fasting, a low-carb diet, or the Mediterranean approach, Attia's advice is to find what works for your body, ensuring that your diet supports both physical and cognitive health. He reiterates the importance of consuming nutrient-dense, whole foods while avoiding processed sugars and unhealthy fats. Attia also emphasizes the importance of protein intake, particularly as we age. Protein is essential for maintaining muscle mass, which is crucial for long-term health and physical function. Older adults often need more protein than younger people to prevent muscle loss, and Attia encourages readers to make sure they are getting enough high-quality protein from their diets, or, if necessary, from supplements. The third pillar, sleep, is one of the most critical yet often neglected aspects of longevity. Adia reinforces the need to prioritize sleep as a key element of a healthy lifestyle, offering practical tips for improving sleep quality and consistency. He emphasizes the importance of maintaining a regular sleep schedule, creating an environment conducive to rest, and managing factors that disrupt sleep, such as stress or too much screen time before bed. Sleep, as Adia explains, is when the body undergoes repair and regeneration processes, and without it, our efforts to stay healthy and prevent disease are undermined. The fourth and final pillar is emotional well-being, which encompasses stress management, mental health, and social connections. Adia reminds us that our emotional health is just as important as our physical health when it comes to aging well. Chronic stress, depression, and loneliness can accelerate aging and lead to a host of physical health problems. Adia encourages readers to prioritize practices that reduce stress, such as mindfulness, meditation, or therapy, and to invest in meaningful relationships with friends, family, and community. Emotional resilience, he argues, is a critical component of longevity, as it allows us to face life's challenges without being overwhelmed by them. Adia then moves on to the concept of monitoring progress. Once you've established a personalized longevity plan, it's important to track your progress and make adjustments as needed. He suggests keeping an eye on key health markers, such as body composition, blood sugar levels, cholesterol, and inflammation markers, as well as paying attention to how you feel on a day-to-day basis. Are you sleeping better? Do you have more energy? Are you able to handle stress more effectively? These subjective measures are just as important as the objective ones when it comes to assessing the effectiveness of your plan. One of the key insights in this chapter is the idea that consistency over perfection is what matters most. Adia acknowledges that life is unpredictable, and it's unrealistic to expect that we'll always stick perfectly to our health goals. What's important, he says, is staying consistent over the long term. A few missed workouts or an occasional indulgent meal won't derail your progress. The goal is to make small, sustainable changes that add up over time. It's about building habits that you can stick to for the rest of your life, rather than chasing short-term perfection. Adia also reflects on the importance of having realistic expectations when it comes to longevity. While the goal is to live a long, healthy life, no one can guarantee how long they will live or what specific health challenges they may face. Instead of focusing solely on adding years to life, Adia encourages readers to think about how they can make the years they have as fulfilling, vibrant, and independent as possible. In many ways, it's about quality over quantity, maximizing the health span, even if we can't control the exact length of our lifespan. As Adia closes the chapter, he leaves readers with a powerful reminder. Taking control of your health is a lifelong journey. The interventions and strategies discussed in OUTLIVE are not quick fixes or short-term solutions. They are part of a broader philosophy of taking proactive steps to prevent disease, slow aging, and maintain physical and mental well-being for as long as possible. Longevity is a marathon, not a sprint, and the decisions we make today about how we move, eat, sleep, and manage stress will have a profound impact on how we live in the future. The final message is one of hope and empowerment. While aging and disease are inevitable, we have more control over our health and longevity than we might think. By embracing the science of longevity and making informed, deliberate choices, we can dramatically improve our chances of living a long, healthy, and fulfilling life. Adia's vision for the future is one where more people not only live longer, but live better, enjoying their later years with energy, purpose, and vitality. With this chapter, Adia brings his exploration of longevity full circle, providing readers with the tools and knowledge to create a personalized, sustainable plan for aging well. It's not about chasing immortality, but about optimizing the time we have, ensuring that we can live our lives fully and meaningfully, no matter how many years we have left.